What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. We are so lucky to be getting all these comic book series like The Boys, Invincible, Jupiter's Legacy. They're all coming to screen, and then we have nothing to do but watch them. And now we're getting another DC series, this time finding its home on Netflix June 4th. Produced by Susan and Robert Downey Jr. Okay, went from Marvel to DC. I see how it is. I see how it is. So here to fill you in before your next binge, I'm Taylor McWatters, and here are the top 10 Sweet Tooth facts you need to know. Let's do it. Number 10, comic book origins. The trailer for Sweet Tooth looks like a family fun series, almost. Will Forte's calming voice is telling us about what happened after the world got sick, and it shows a family with their masks on. At first, if you don't know about comics or anything, you might think this is just another show written about COVID during COVID. Kind of like that movie Songbird that should have never came out.
Hey, whoa, I'm immune!
Tasteful, nice. No, Sweet Tooth first hit DC Comics back in 2009. It was part of their Vertigo imprint. Now, Vertigo has been handling the adult content portion of comics. You know, stuff with nudity, graphic violence, drugs, all that stuff. They also do Sandman and Hellblazer. So when you hear that, you're probably not expecting that kind of content just based on the tone of this trailer. Sweet Tooth comes from the mind of Eisner-nominated Jeff Lemire, with colors by Jose Villarrubia, and some referred to the story as Mad Max meeting Bambi. So what is the story? Number 9, the story. So yeah, that may look and sound familiar, but Sweet Tooth takes place in a rural post-apocalyptic setting, where a young boy named Gus is born and raised in total isolation with his father. It's an American landscape that has just been beaten down by a pandemic a decade before. So it looks like they're going to show us a lot of the before just based on this trailer. Maybe we'll see humans decline in the first episode, or maybe it'll be I Am Legend style and kind of take us back and forth. I hope it's the latter. I really don't want episode 1 to be just people coughing the entire time. That would be, I think I'm all set. And before we continue on with this list, guys, if you want to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, that would be really helpful. It does go a long way for us on our channel, especially while we're still working from home. We really appreciate your support. Those likes are the support. So thank you for the views and the likes. Let's get right back to this video. Number 8, his father. Okay, before we get into Gus, we gotta talk about his father first. It's important that way. So he's the only person Gus knows for, well, most of his entire life, being raised in absolute isolation in the woods. Now, Gus has had a nightmare of a man, this recurring nightmare where this man is chasing him, this big man, just looking down at him with cold eyes. And Gus is running from fire and hell and bad stuff, just everything nightmarish. And the big man is chasing him as well, and that just sounds terrifying. Now, these are Gus's dreams because his father is quite religious, to say the least. And he's a great storyteller too, explains the dreams, explains the pictures that pop up in Gus's head. Now, Gus says that his father knows God real good. He tells him a lot of stuff, but not all of it is sad, per se. God let his father talk to Gus's mother sometimes, who Gus actually resembles, although she passed away long before he ever saw her. His father explains to Gus that outside of the trees where they live is hell. Just like his dream, a lot of fire, a lot of Slipknot, whatever you think hell is. But he says the trees stop the fire from burning them forever. And if they wait there and pray hard enough, they'll get to join mom in the old H lounge. Now, his dad also has nightmares of his own. He talks to himself in the middle of the night. He says, "Don't let them in. Please don't let them in." How comforting must that be? Just 7 pages in, we also learn that his dad is sick. He's coughing up blood, insisting, however, that he's fine. Classic dad stuff. Number 7, the Crunch Bar. 9 pages into the first issue, we get an idea of why he's called Sweet Tooth. Gus is in the woods training. He's pulling back his slingshot, getting his vocals warmed up for when he has to shout out at sinners. He's in the moment. He's training hard. And then upon reloading some more rocks, Gus hears something. Now he thinks it's his dad, but there's no coughing, just instead a Crunch Bar lying on the ground. If I see a Crunch Bar laying in the middle of the woods where I've lived alone forever, there's no way I would touch that thing. Way too creepy. Coffee Crisp, however, we'll talk. So he takes a few bites and he heads back home. Now his dad thinks that he got wood, but instead he brings back this Crunch Bar, and his father goes nuts. He is not happy at all. He's worried. He tells Gus that hunters will do these types of tricks. Now Gus ain't seen nothing but the sweet stuff. His father then told him he doesn't have long to live, as it's in him bad now. Took Gus's mom quick, and others lasted a bit longer, like his dad. And a few pages later, just like that, his father's time ran out. One of the last conversations Gus had with his father was Gus promising him that he'd never leave the woods. That's a huge promise. It's a dying promise. But why wasn't Gus sick? Also, what about the antlers? Number 6, hybrid species. So right after Gus buried his father, he had another horrible moment in life. He saw a deer with antlers. They locked eyes, the antlers and the deer with the antlers and the boy with the antlers and the deer with the antlers. They locked eyes. Must have been pretty weird to see similarities in an animal. It's like when I see a giraffe and I'm like, But the stare down doesn't last long at all as an arrow hits right between the deer's antlers. But who shot the arrow? Gus heard voices in the woods say, "This way, I saw him through here." And then when they get close to the now dead deer, one of the hunters is disappointed. He said he thought it was a hybrid, said it looked exactly like a little boy. But what are they talking about? Why are they trying to hunt boys? Well, Gus is part of this animal-human hybrid that came after this pandemic. Now, these hybrids are immune to the pandemic, and many hunters believe that the hybrids are either the cause or the result of this virus. So they fear him, naturally, because people suck. So they're about to take out Gus when all of a sudden the man from Gus's dream approaches and deals with them one by one. He says, "Ain't no God here." And then he approaches Gus. But who is this man? Number 5, Jeopard. Meet Jeopard, hero of the day. His character was actually based on an aging Frank Castle, believe it or not. He's this big badass dude. He takes out the second hunter, and when he turns back to Gus, he reassures him that it's all okay. But Gus is gone. He took off. He did what he's been taught his entire life. He ran away. But it didn't take long for Jeopard to find him, and he's surprised. He's never seen a deer hybrid before. And finally, when Gus calms down, Jeopard asks the pressing questions here. Where are your parents? When did the disease get them? How long have you been here? Tell me more things. Who are you? Why do you have, what's going on? So Gus answers and he tells Jeopard that he's 9 years old. And Jeopard thinks this must be a lie because that's impossible, because the pandemic hit 7 years ago. And your kind didn't start till after that, he says. But Gus insists that that's the info that his dad told him, and Jeopard tells him that his father may have been wrong. So Jeopard gets down on one knee. He gets to kid eye level. That's how you know it's real. And he asks Gus if his father ever told him about the preserve. Gus responds politely, "No, sir." Number 4, the preserve. So Jeopard explains that it's a safe place for little half-animal kids like Gus. Hardly anybody knows where this place is, but Jeopard does. It's just a few days ride away and he's offering to take Gus. How lovely. Right after he saved his life, now he's like, "Hey, let's get out of here, kid." No dad, no problem, let's do it. And then the trailer cuts to them on the road, bonding. It's kind of fun. Jeopard is played by actor Nonzo Annuzzi. Gus is played by Christian Caveri. It feels cute and fun. In the comic, this moment is not cute nor fun. Gus is like, "Thanks, but no thanks. I'm good, I'm gonna stay here." And then Jeopard's like, "Fine, stay here. I don't give a flying wasted a bullet on them for nothing. You might need this though," and then throws a slingshot at him and then leaves. Peace. The tone is a little different. There's a few more F-bombs in the comic. The comic book roots are much more gritty, but still, Gus changes his mind and last minute he joins Jeopard on the ride. One of the first meals they eat on the way to the preserve is a Crunch Bar, with Sweet Tooth lighting up at sight. Number 3, on the run. So Gus left with him and he's finding out the truth from Jeopard, that the world is not burning around those woods, it's dying. Everybody got sick and those who didn't have it coming, except the hybrids. That's why everybody wants a piece of him, but the world isn't just dark and lonely, it's kind of like the Purge. There's crews that hunt at night, and like Jeopard said, everybody wants a piece of these hybrids. They don't even get a good night's rest before the first batch of trouble comes along. Gus is taken by one of the bandits, but Jeopard's aim is again useful. He's injured, however, so Gus has to take it from here for a little bit. Now here, the comic feels like very Last of Us at this point. Gus has to find supplies in an abandoned house. It's creepy, the stakes are high. The world is full of dangerous people, and that's just the start for Sweet Tooth. Number 2, bag of bones. So while Gus and Jeopard are on the run, they have to pass this specific place on the way to the reserve, this valley of death, basically, because men will set up camp there and wait for animal kids to pass by and then scoop them up. But the big man won't let that happen, will he? They ride in, he shoots them up cowboy style, still on his horse. So they arrive at the camp, and Jeopard meets somebody named Abbott and tells them that Gus is 9. Now Abbott figures he should call Dr. Sign, who is part of this deal between Abbott and Jeopard. The deal was to give the boy to this doctor who experiments on hybrids. It was a horrible deal. He gives him Sweet Tooth, and Jeopard gets his wife's bones in a bag to finally bring home. Yeah, nothing like trading in a nice kid for a bag of bones. Must be a tough one. Number 1, supporting characters. So yeah, that's messed up, but the world is also full of not so horrible people at all either. Like Pig Girl, aka Wendy. She enters the story 6 issues in, and she's also a hybrid, hence the name Pig Girl, of course. And Gus meets her at this militia camp. Now she's around the same age, raised by a single mother. It's a really sweet moment. He meets others as well, and they're just as scared, it seems. He meets Bobby, although his vocabulary is limited. It's quite sad. Wendy tells Gus that this happens when they're more animal than they are people. They can't talk. Well, Bobby can, but it's only just a little bit. There are all these other amazing characters to meet in the story, but before we get too spoilery, we'll just cut it right there. Guys, I'm super pumped that we're getting more of these other comic book adaptations on screen. I feel like Team Downey did a great job on this show, but I don't think it'll be nearly as dark. But hey, you never know. You never know. Guys, let us know in the comments down below which other stories or characters you'd love to hear more of, and then we'll get around to them. We love your suggestions, and then we can hopefully get around to those as well. I've been your host, Taylor McWatters. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out, and we'll see you next time on Top 10 Nerd. See ya.